There was once a widow. A woman who had lost not only her husband, but almost everything else that gave her life meaning. Her husband had served the Lord faithfully, but now he was gone. And in the silence that followed his death, she could hear the sound of creditors at her door. They had come not for money, but for her sons. To take them away as slaves, to repay a debt she could never afford. Desperate and broken, she ran to the only man she could think of, the prophet Elisha. "Your servant, my husband, is dead," she said. "And you know he feared the Lord. But now, the creditor is coming to take my 2 boys." Elisha looked at her. Not with pity, but with purpose. He asked, "What do you have in your house?" She sighed, "I have nothing at all, except a small jar of oil." And that was all God needed. Elisha said to her, "Go. Borrow empty jars from all your neighbors. Don't ask for just a few. Then go inside, shut the door behind you and your sons, and pour oil into all the jars." So she did. She went house to house, knocking on doors, gathering emptiness. Empty jars from every neighbor. She brought them home and lined them up, one after another, vessels waiting to be filled. And then, behind closed doors, she began to pour. From one small jar. One impossible jar. And as the oil flowed, it did not stop. Every jar she filled, another was waiting. Her sons kept bringing more and still, the oil kept running. Until finally, she whispered, "Bring me another." And they said, "There are no more jars left." And in that moment, the oil stopped flowing. Not because God ran out, but because she did. She ran to Elisha and told him what had happened. And he said, "Go, sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left." Her house, once empty, was now filled with the fragrance of grace. The same place that echoed with fear now overflowed with joy. Listen carefully, because this story is more than history. It's revelation. When the widow said, "I have nothing except," she didn't realize that the miracle was hiding in her except. God always starts with what you think isn't enough. He turns little into limitless. He turns empty into overflow. So, lesson 1, never underestimate what's left in your house. God can multiply what you're willing to surrender. Lesson 2, faith borrows emptiness. Elisha didn't tell her to find full jars, he told her to gather empty ones. Because God only fills what is empty. If you'll bring him your lack, he'll pour out his supply. Lesson 3, shut the door. Some miracles happen in private. You don't need an audience, you need obedience. Behind closed doors, she found open heaven. Lesson 4, the oil stopped when the jars stopped. The limit wasn't God's power, it was her preparation. What if the flow of blessing in your life is waiting on how many jars of faith you bring to him? Lesson 5, the oil is a picture of grace. Grace never runs dry. The Holy Spirit keeps pouring, as long as there's an open vessel to receive. And maybe that's the real message today. That the God who filled the widow's jars still fills the empty places in us. He doesn't need a palace, just a willing heart. He doesn't need wealth, just trust. So if all you have left is a small jar of faith, don't hide it. Pour it. Because when you pour what's in your hand, he'll pour what's in his. And you'll discover that the oil never truly runs dry.